What's going on, homies? Welcome to the Cracked Soccer Podcast, episode number 15. On today's podcast, man, awesome podcast for y'all today. We're going to discuss the California Clash and a post-game scrap. Who started it? Who knows? A lot of crazy things happened. Obviously, we don't condone nothing, no violence, but very interesting nonetheless. Also, no 0-0 draws this week in the MLS. Very interesting. A lot of draws still, but 24 goals in all of those draws. Pretty crazy. And lastly, we'll cover week 15 as well as looking into some of the USMNT national team call-ups and how they showed up this weekend. Stay tuned for the Crack Soccer Podcast. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes, sir. Let's
bang,
get
bang,
it.
Man. And we got here, what? Fernando? Fern? Jimenez? The only one that showed up today? Jeez.
I have a humiliation kink, apparently. So
I guess so, man. You like to be humiliated, man.
So
say what's good to the people, my guy.
Not much, bro. It's your favorite tree out here, or bush, shrub. What's a fern? Is it a brush? A bush?
Yeah. Probably like a bush, something like that.
I don't know. But yeah,
between the ferns.
I am gonna say it's not looking very good, guys. It's not looking very good.
What's not?
I just gotta say, at least there's no punishment, and it's only a prize for the first place winner. Because
maybe we should make one.
That's too late. No, we're too far in. It's too late because I am down by 11 points.
Ooh, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. The leaderboard, the Cracked Weekly Picks leaderboard, with your boy, clearly at the top with 93 correct picks. Lopez right behind with 90. Fern, oh my goodness, my guy, 82. I gotta ask too, how many did you get right this week? I can't even remember.
I wrote it down. Give me 2 seconds. It was 4. You guys got 6. So it's not like horrible. The main issue, I think, is that kind of like this week where it's 2 games in the week. The last time that happened, it kind of screwed me over where I didn't do the best. So now I'm kind of falling behind. So I wasn't like too far off you guys. I was only 2 picks off. Right. With you guys being so far ahead, it's getting a bit hard to catch up. But this week should help me out. So we'll see. But yeah, no, it's not looking good, bruv.
Yeah, it's been pretty tough. But for sure, you definitely have an opportunity to pick it up this week with games on Wednesday as well as Saturday. But it's wild, man. This last weekend, there was 5? I think there was 5 ties. But like we mentioned, no 0-0 draws. They were all, almost like highly scoring, except for maybe 1-1 draw. They were all pretty highly scoring draws. So that's 5 points that we all instantly don't get, which sucks because we only pick winners.
Yeah, it was a 1-1 draw between Austin and Minnesota, and all the other ones were either 2-2 or above, or 3-3 was the top, the max.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
nice.
Good games if you're a neutral, I guess. A lot of goals.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But those casual fans that just like seeing goals like those games. Besides the fact that they draw.
Exactly, man. We like to see winners. We like to see them win. We want to win.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet, dude. Well, yeah, there's the leaderboard. We'll be sharing that on all of our socials. We'll be getting that out, making sure everybody is kind of keeping up with this. Again, we're playing for stakes. We're playing for jersey at the end of the season. So hopefully whoever wins gets a really nice jersey.
You can have mine.
No donations, new ones.
you don't want, bro, the black Barcelona jersey is hard to come by.
Ooh, maybe a Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack. Hey man, if I win, maybe that's
a little bit above the budget.
Yeah, a little bit, right? It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Sick, man. But yes, that is the leaderboard. We'll keep track of that. Let us know. Keep letting us know if our picks are correct, if they're wrong, if y'all agree, disagree, and everything in between. So let us know. Going right into our correct performances of the week. For those that don't know, the best performances, the best players, the best games, as well as a pour one out section for the not so good player, game, or team. But we'll get right into it, man. The correct performances, Fern. Let's kick it off, man.
Alrighty then, let's get it going. So my game of the week this week, which, it was kind of hard. There was some pretty good games. A lot of 3-3 draws, like we said. A lot of kind of like last minute sort of game tying goals and stuff like that. But I did actually end up deciding to go with the Philadelphia versus Inter Miami game, just because, I thought it was over.
You say Messi again, I'm gonna freak out, dude.
I thought it was over. You don't want to know who my crack player is. So yeah, no, this game, it seemed over, honestly. They scored one goal pretty early on, and then Barribo scored, and then they brought one back, and I was like, you know what, they're playing a little bit better, being more dangerous, and I felt like they had a chance to be able to um, get back into the game, and it was just looking like it was over, honestly. And then Messi comes in the 87th minute and does what he does, just puts, it was a really nice free kick too, it would have been really hard to save.
Yeah, got to give it to him for that one for sure.
And then and then Segovia comes in and he just scores. Seems like a casual goal, he literally just grabs the ball, kicks it into the top right corner, and brings them back together. So it was like a really exciting game because it was pretty much like the last kick of the game. I enjoy these games, especially when there's some top teams. Inter Miami has fallen off a bit, and Philadelphia is the number one team. And I don't know, I just feel like anytime Inter Miami has to play like a really good team, they like show out more than when they don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I kind of had to go with that game. It had everything. It had Messi getting mad. He scored the goal. He didn't even celebrate or anything. He just looked like, hey, let's just get this over with.
Yeah.
And then the goal that Segovia scored, it looked like he wanted to celebrate, but he's definitely frustrated at the current situation.
Yep.
And I did want to give a shout out to my cracked player of the week. There we go.
Crispy.
Any guesses?
If you say
It's Messi.
Of course it is.
It's Messi. Come on, guys. I had to give it to him. It's been weeks since I gave him some glaze, I heard he likes Krispy Kreme, so
okay.
So yeah, no, I mean, he only had a goal. I feel like, I guess it wouldn't really count too much as an assist. Maybe I'm just being a fanboy right now. But that Segovia goal, he took on two defenders and he megged one of them, and Segovia was able to get the ball and turn and get the shot off. So I guess it's not necessarily like an intended pass, so that's why it didn't count as an assist, but it's Messi. You should just give him the assist anyways. But yeah, no, he had a really good game. Like, he had some really good passing accuracy, like it says right there. He had 85% pass accuracy, and he also had the 83% pass accuracy, which is let me see, I'll tell you right now. He had 6 long balls and 5 of them were on target. So I feel like most of those balls go straight to Jordi Alba. So but yeah, no, I just feel like he had a really good game this week. They've been a bit down. It was kind of nice seeing them, even though it was just a draw, not a win, kind of maybe get some more confidence in their players and something going, try and figure something out. But yeah, I feel like Messi deserves it, and they should just give him the Ballon d'Or already. So just because of that free kick.
There you go, man. I mean, hit goal at the end of the day. Plus, at the end of the day, if he ever scores, if he ever does something great, like, I feel like it just kind of brings up that team. So, I totally understand kind of that appeal, right? So, get on him, man. Good old cracked player, man. That's a sick performance. Way to go, Mr. Goat.
Messi. And yeah, so going into my pour one out real quick, there was a couple teams. I honestly was thinking of pouring one out for Philadelphia, but I decided not to, just because Messi and that game was already like my top games. I don't want to make people think that I'm not trying. So I actually did go with the Chicago Fire versus New York City, and I'm pouring one out for the Chicago Fire just because they lost, but they also had 2 red cards. And I don't want to so the first red card, they kind of like bump into each other, and they the guy's like shoulder kind of hits the player, and it kind of looks like it like kind of does this, where it like had some friction, just kind of goes up and accidentally like hits the player right here in the chin, and he goes down, and then they give him a red card. It didn't look intentional to me. Maybe it wasn't super on accident, but it wasn't like intentional, maybe a yellow card or something just as a warning, especially with it being like 32 minutes into the game, which, I feel like most of the time the refs like to give a little bit of leeway. And then for the second red card was also nasty. The guy dives in. He gets the ball first, but as he's like sliding, because he's like coming in at a weird angle, his trailing foot comes in and kind of hits the player just a little bit, and the guy definitely sells it and gets himself a red card, or gets the other guy a red card, which I also feel were two really soft reds for them. That's why I wanted to pour one out. They could have had a better chance if they weren't playing with nine men on the field.
Oh, dang. So they did get 2 reds
yeah,
during the game, huh? Dang, yeah, that does suck.
yeah.
That's a tough one to come back from, too. Especially when a guy goes down in the first half, like 32 minutes in. That's like that's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And so the second one is I just feel like it's worse because he gets the ball, like clearly gets the ball. And since he's coming up behind him, he kind of has to throw his body in forward like this, gets the ball. And as he's falling down, his foot kind of just slides in and barely taps the guy. And the New York City player got shot or something because of the way he reacted. So
dang, dude, that's wild. Well, dang, sucks, man. I mean, and it also gives New York kind of that chance to, hey, they got another win, they got a win, and you know they're probably a team that hasn't been playing as well. So I mean, at the end of the day, they lost to probably a not so great New York City right now. But also Chicago was doing pretty dang good, I feel, up until now. Oh, I think you're muted.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're talking to myself. I said, yeah, they've been playing really good. They have one of the top scorers in the league right now. The Chicago Fire does. So, yeah.
Dang. Well, dang. There you go. Pouring them out for Chicago. That sucks, man. Good stuff, though, dude. Solid performances, solid picks. I'd like to hear it, like to see it. I'll go right into my correct performances of the week. To kick it off, man, the game that I saw as, you know, a top game this last weekend, definitely a lot of, like you mentioned, a lot of good games, a lot of different games that, you know, you definitely could have pointed out. The LA game, San Diego game was very good. A couple others there, in the, you know, the Philadelphia, Miami game, very good. But I'm going to have to give it to the San Jose versus the Houston Dynamo game. Interesting game, man. At the end of the day, you know, it was a tie. It was 3-3. We don't like to see ties. I get it. But if you saw this game, you know, it definitely is a little bit like what you mentioned with Miami and Philadelphia, right? Just kind of two teams going back and forth, really slugging it out. What I thought was very interesting in this game, though, that I wanted to kind of give the performance to was Josef Martinez?
Oh, yeah, it is Josef.
It was an F, right?
Yeah, it's an F.
Josef Martinez, bro, he had so many chances to score in this game. 2 ginormous opportunities, like in the first 20 minutes. This game easily could have been 2-0 like the first 20.
4 big chances missed and 1 woodwork hit. So
exactly. So it was kind of nuts just kind of watching that game at the beginning and just kind of seeing like, hey, San Jose could have gone up super early. At the end of the day, he didn't put any away. And then the first half ended up being, I think it was 1-0 for Houston Dynamo. And then, you know, if you kind of looked at it, it definitely could have been 2-2 at the end of the first half. And this game probably would have ended like 5-5 if, you know, Joseph and a couple others could have put it away. But definitely very interesting nonetheless. In the second half, then Joseph missed a couple other chances, right? He missed a quick header. He missed another 1-1, kind of a breakaway. And then, you know, you get a super sub, right? Preston Judd coming in. I think he scored twice in the 66th and the 3rd for San Jose. Literally turns the game around. Like, what was it? 1-0 and then basically 3-1.
It was 2-0 and then he scored 2 goals and then 3 minutes later Mooney scored, so it was 3-2.
3-2, right.
Going into the 90.
Got it, exactly. Yeah, so they literally flipped the game in like 10 minutes. Because it was what? A goal in the 66th, 73rd.
76th.
73rd and then 76th. Yep.
Yeah, so it was 66th, 73rd, 76th.
Yeah.
So 3 goals in 10 minutes.
Yeah, wild, dude. So in 10 minutes, they literally turned the game around. And then at the very end, like 90th minute, just San Jose, man, just got caught. So then they get scored on. It ends up being a tie 3-3 game where, you know, San Jose definitely could have had it, but I got to give it to Houston as well. They played pretty well. At the end of the day, they kept up with a very strong offense with San Jose, and they kept the game interesting, right? 3-3. You know, my crack performance at the end of the day, if you were able to go to this game, you know, good for you, because it was definitely action-packed. A lot of different opportunities for both teams. So very cool, very fun game to watch. And then going right into my correct player of the week, I'm going to have to give it to Chucky Lozano, correct player. Bang, bang.
Chucky!
Now, I think what maybe some people would say is like, hey, look, he did pretty good, but he didn't do amazing. Look, I get it, whatever. He did only have one goal, like your GOAT did, right? Like Lionel Messi. He only had 1 goal, but the thing that most impressed me about him this last weekend was, 1, yes, he got them the win over LA Galaxy, which would have sucked if they obviously lost to that team or even tied, to be honest. just given the form of LA Galaxy.
They did get lucky.
Hey, I ain't saying nothing. But Chucky did obviously give them kind of the go-ahead and kind of make them win that game. The thing that I found most impressive, though, about Chucky within that game was just kind of his defensive effort. What did he win? Like 4 different challenges? And he came back, I believe, and, definitely...
He had 6 defensive actions, 4 recoveries, and I think I did put on here, 67% tackle rate. So
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so he did a really good job, just defensively, not just offensively. Clearly, he's very good offensively, but on the defensive side of the ball, I don't think you see that with a lot of players these days, right? You can talk about the Lionel Messi's, the
Messi defense.
Yeah, sometimes. Okay, chill. And a couple others, right? A handful of forwards where they're just not going to come back. They're not going to track back. If they lose the ball, it is what it is. Maybe in dire situations they might come back. But the fact that Chucky went out like 2 times that I saw very clearly, just basically going from the top of the field all the way to the back and winning that ball, like, dude, hats off, man. And on top of this, not just for this performance this weekend, homeboy did just get called up for the Mexican national team to compete in the Gold Cup.
I was going to say he's probably performing extra hard right now because he wants to be part of the team. Because I don't know, was he part of the last Mexico's team that won the...
I don't, probably. I know he's been on the team before. Like he's obviously been on the Mexican national team a few times, but I don't know if they had him. I don't believe they had him for the Nations.
I came to look, and he's not on there. I don't know. He had a really good stint out in Italy, and then I think he went to Fabrenace or something like that. No, he went to PSV. And didn't do too well, and then he came out here to the MLS, and he seems to be catching a bit of form right now. So
yeah, he's been doing pretty well. So I think good on him. Good performance this last week. Hopefully he continues, right? And he's very, in a couple press conferences, he's mentioned that, hey, super happy with San Diego right now. Very excited for the club, the way that it's going, the direction that it's in. So good on him, man. I'm happy to see him happy in a good team, and one that's very passionate. We'll get into it later. Very passionate, no matter who they play.
Is it? Who's the issue? Okay, we'll talk about it later. But it's funny. It just makes me laugh. There is a lot of passion in the game. Always, what's it called? Me and my friends play pro clubs on FIFA, so we all have like our positions to play, and like, let's say we play like 6 games, probably like 2 out of those 6 games I get a red card, just because literally anytime I lose the ball, I just go straight in for a tackle. So people call it aggression, I call it passion. So
yeah, there you go. There you go, man. Different name, same thing.
But yeah, it's nice to see him playing well again, though, because he did score the game winner for Mexico when they beat Germany in the 2018 World Cup, which is probably one of the highlights of his career. So it's nice to see him coming back and seeing some of these Mexican players playing well. Hopefully, he performs well for the Mexican national team, and we get one of those iconic USA-Mexico finals with both teams at their strongest, So
yeah, no, exactly. Solid. Well, good stuff with those performances. So for my pour one out, I'm going to have to give it to the home team of Real Salt Lake. Pour one out for you guys. I'm sorry to do it. And to talk about Real Salt Lake today, we have some special guests with us today. The RSL boys are joining the podcast. Say what's good to the people, Alan and Marcos.
What's good, everybody? Thanks for having us, you guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah, man. We're coming.
Super pumped to have you guys.
First collab.
Yeah, man. It's pretty legit. I'm happy about this, but not too happy about the result on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly, right. Obviously, we can kind of get into this. RSL dropping the ball, in my perspective, against Vancouver, 3-2. I was at the game. I saw you guys at the game. Ernie was going to come to the game, but he couldn't come to the game because he's lame. But at the end of the day, they did drop 3-2. They dropped some points, but they came out red hot, guys. I wanted to say, first 19, 20 minutes, completely RSL's way, just coming out super hot. I kind of turned to the people I was at the game, and I said, I didn't think we were going to win this game. I might have to change my prediction because RSL's about to win 6-0. That's what I thought.
That's what it felt like.
Exactly.
But legit. I mean, this is what it's caught us all like by surprise. And so, to your point, I mean, 2 goals in 4 minutes. That's just not RSL. This whole season, we've been off in the first half and then on in the second half. And so, to have a minute and have a goal scored by our 18-year-old, 3 minutes later, have another goal scored by our leading goal scorer, Diego Luna. I mean, I think we were on cloud 9. And I think we stayed there for not long enough.
Yeah, it seemed like that quick 19 minutes that RSL had. It felt like the RSL of last season when we had Andres Gomez, Chicho, all of those goal scorers who could contribute goals. But why can't we have that now, which is really sad for RSL.
But do you know what's funny, though? This was a lineup for the first time that we saw
Dominic
Gozo and Gozo at the same time. And I thought for sure this was going to be at our time to show the youth that they can actually do it. For the longest time, you guys have heard it, Diogo has been like the slump of the season, and everyone and their dogs have been complaining about Diogo. And then finally we get this performance by the young people. We're like, yo, this is what we've been wanting the whole time. And obviously the young people only last as long as young people last.
And then I always get super nervous when, you get goals that quickly, because you score 4 minutes, 2 goals in the first 4 minutes. Now you have 86 minutes where you either have to score more goals to keep the lead or just defend. And obviously, it didn't go too well. I had faith till the last minute. I'm like, oh, you know what? We'll get a tie. I'll be happy with it at this point. And then they had to come in and ruin our day. So
no, I was telling Christian right after Diego Luna scored that second goal, I was like, don't be excited right now. 2-0, most dangerous lead in soccer. And and you can't leave a player like Brian White that wide open on that first goal at all, ever.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but are we really surprised that Brian White scored 2 goals? I mean, he's dangerous, and I think to what we all expected, we knew that something like this was going to happen. Just the fact that we were up 2-0 surprised us, and I think what was really frustrating though is that we supposedly had our star back line back. We had Gladenver in the back, Catrani's playing on the left, and then obviously our right back situation isn't fully resolved, but Kaliskin is fine. And I think that was the most disappointing part, because we reinforced our defensive line in the offseason. And I personally thought it was going to be really good. And to let a 2-0 lead slip away is really disappointing, especially at home.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I definitely think, the interesting part, like you mentioned, right? Brian White, he's going to get on the score sheet. He's going to show up. He's going to show out. That's the kind of guy and player that he is. But I just thought it was a little bit interesting, right? Kind of watching them play live in the stadium, the way that this team, the way that RSL kind of, functions, specifically like when they're ahead, or maybe just ahead by a little bit, maybe even tied. Vancouver does a very good job of slowing the game down, right? They kind of, if you noticed, during, kind of when they had that first goal, the second goal, beginning of the second half, they really kind of took over the pace of the game. And every single time that, RSL got the ball and they kind of had, any sort of possession, it was, let's go score. Let's go score. Let's go score. And that's what I saw every single time, right? And it's kind of frustrating to see a team that's up not want to be able to control the pace, control, kind of the ball, choose the opportunities and go. I noticed you guys, had some pretty cool interviews with, some of the players, some of the coach. You guys posted on your socials. They mentioned that the team is pretty young. They are very young. Maybe it's, kind of that maturity part, right? Where that patience isn't there. Curious if that's kind of how you guys saw it as well. Just kind of given the maturity of the team and kind of how they go about controlling the pace of the game.
Well, I mean, if you look at the FOTMOB, I mean, I know you guys look at FOTMOB as well. The momentum graph, you could see it. We blasted off the first 15, 20 minutes. After that, it was just like you said. We just went in spurts of, all right, let's just defend, and then we found an opportunity to go. And you can see it in the stats. I mean, we didn't win the possession battle. We definitely didn't win the passing battle. And so you could tell that the immaturity is there. And even though we see glimpses of hope, they really are just that, glimpses.
I wouldn't say that we're struggling with the youth on our team, because we have a mixture of youth along with veteran pieces in Cabral, in Justin Glad, as well as in Willie. But it's also a lack of communication, because we have too many egos on the pitch. We have Luna, who's about to head off to the Gold Cup. We have so many people who want to be their own individual piece.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't been to too many games this year. I think I've only been to one, honestly, and it was the LA Galaxy game. And they looked good, but it is the LA Galaxy, so they make anybody look good this year. But I just feel like I don't know. It's always so hard for me to try and figure out, like, I'm not a coach, I'm not whatever, so it's hard for me to try and figure out what to do to help the team. It sucks getting rid of Chicho Orango, but I also feel like he's very like injury prone, so I can see why they kind of wanted to offload him to. But I mean, it's good to have a player like that for those little moments that he can score for you, where he can get you the goals. Because this year, I just feel like they haven't been scoring as much as they need to. I mean, it's nice that Diego Luna is your top scorer, but you don't want your attacking midfielder to be your top scorer. You want your striker.
And I think these next two games for RSL, with it being the last two games with Luna prior to going to Gold Cup, we need everybody else to step up, because if we have one player being the guy that's going to score the goals, how are we going to do once he's gone?
Yeah, and I mean, to that point, I mean, trying to summarize the whole season so far in the preseason, I mean, it's really tough not to start pointing fingers, because when you get rid of 40 plus goals, or actually I should probably say 40 to 50 plus goal and assist contributions in the offseason, and don't replace them, that is super hard to get over, especially as fans. Right now, I can feel it's super hard for fans to keep fanning.
Right.
And it's really hard to stay engaged. I mean, not to throw us under the bus, but you can tell that our engagement is declining, because people are just not interested in a losing team. And so you get glimpses like Saturday, 2 goals up, and then you lose it. People are like, well, same old RSL. And then they start blaming it's we need Pablo out. We have Diogo. It's the front office. And so going into these next 2 games, where they should be winnable games, showing the fact that we were able to get ahead against the top team in the league, we have hope that these next 2 games against Austin, who have a Brandon Vasquez that can score. Hasn't been prolific this season so far, and then against a Galaxy team that, my gosh, I think between us and the Galaxy, I think we've made the worst 2 turns in like MLS history. But these 2 games are winnable, and right now RSL needs to start getting points, because if not, we're not even going to make it to the play-in game for playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Let's not put RSL on the same level as Galaxy this year.
Yeah, let's not. Come on, guys. Let's not do that.
But I guess to my point, I mean, you don't get rid of 40 plus goals and assists and try to recover. I mean, the Galaxy haven't been able to recover after Puig got injured, and then they had to get rid of Joveljic. Those are just 2 players. We got rid of like 4 or 5.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting point, right? So you definitely bring up some good points here with this week going with a game on Wednesday as well as on Saturday. I'm just curious, like you mentioned, right? Who is going to step up and kind of discuss with this team and just kind of say, hey, look, we definitely were toe-to-toe with the top team of the MLS. We showed what we can be in the first 19, 20 minutes. How do we continue to make that happen throughout the season, right? You kind of mentioned like a Russell, kind of coming in a little bit more tenured, a little bit more of a player that you can kind of take ownership of this team possibly and kind of help them kind of get along. You did mention, Luna definitely can kind of do that. He's definitely one of the more popular players. Gang called up to the U.S. men's national team for the Gold Cup. But then you got to also look too, right? Like a Glad, like a Ruiz, like a Anelli, like who's going to kind of step up and kind of say, hey, look, we had a glimpse of what RSL can be, what we can be as a team. How are we going to perform and kind of push that with Austin on Wednesday? And then more specifically, not be the team that gives LA Galaxy their first win of the season on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is the big
one. Please no.
So right there, man, I mean, going into it, right? Austin, yes, they were better. They were better a little bit more in the beginning of the season. They're definitely dangerous when and if they want to be. Probably not the game I'm most excited for with RSL this week, but kind of going into the Saturday game, right, with LA Galaxy, like you mentioned, like we all kind of, are aware, LA Galaxy still winless through week 15. RSL coming off of a a loss with Vancouver, but 2 away games. They're going to have to play in Austin as well as in California. How do we feel? How do we feel about these ones? The biggest one is obviously the one on Saturday.
I think looking ahead to the one on Saturday against Galaxy, they're a team that anything could happen. You look at their game over the weekend against San Diego, and they put up a good fight against San Diego, not literally in the stands, but on the pitch as well. But yeah, like Alan said, they have some good firepower, Paintsil, Cristian Ramirez, so anything could happen. I just don't want to be that team that gives Galaxy their first win of the season. Like we've said, a draw on the road is usually a win for us.
They are, I think, was it at CF Montreal was also winless before they came up to RSL, and then they gave them their first win. So yeah. We got to make sure we're not taking anybody's V card for the rest of the season.
Seriously. And maybe to how we played on Saturday, the Galaxy are playing the same exact way. Just 3 games ago, they were 2-up against Philadelphia, lost 3-2. Mm-hmm. They played well in El Tráfico, good enough to get a tie. I mean, again, to Marcus's point, last week they played decent enough to get a goal. I mean, they are there. They just can't get over the line, just like RSL. I'm just afraid that we might just end up on one of these games pulling like what they did against the Red Bulls, a 7-0 loss. That's what I'm hoping for. We don't do, but I guess what I want to make sure that we don't do is exactly that. Give Galaxy their first win, especially if they're playing kind of at the same level as us, where they come out fast, they can get the lead, and then they lose it. So it's basically, this is going to be the ultimate test of the worst team marathon.
And I think also,
who can last the longest.
Definitely. Yes. And I think with having 2 weeks off after that Galaxy game, it's throw everything in there, because we're going to come the international break. You're sending off Dominic, you're sending off Diego. So we need to finish off on a good note for these guys.
Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot.
Absolutely.
And then, I mean, the LA Galaxy, the only thing that worries me is on paper, technically they're the better team, they just based off their players. And it is a bit scary going into the Saturday game, just because, like you guys said, they were up 2-0, they lost, they tied in El Tráfico, and then a really dumb defensive mistake. I don't know why the defender decided to kick in and kick it back towards his own goal for some reason. But they are playing really well, what's his name? I can't think of his name. So Royce right now is playing really well. And then also their right wing Peck has been starting, to pick up the pace a bit. And just those two players are very dangerous. So that's the only thing that's scaring me about this Saturday game coming up. But if neither of those guys show up, I think it should be fine. I was going
to add in really quick, Diego Fagundes. On the game against San Diego, he looks pretty dangerous, especially his goal. So another player to watch out for.
Yeah, Fagundes is pretty good too. So we'll see. It looks like they're trying out different stuff. They sat McCarthy this last game. So,
but I guess what I'm not too worried about is the fact that their right wing, which you're saying is Gabriel Peck, would go up against Catranes. Catranes has been a dog on our left back, and so when you put those two together, that's going to be the matchup of the game for me, is Peck and Catranes. Watch out for that, because if Peck can get advantage over Catranes, they're in. But if Catranes can hold his own, I don't think the Galaxy will have much of an offense.
Did you guys go to the Galaxy game at home by chance?
I was there.
Yeah. Did you guys notice how bad of a tempo the Galaxy had after they went down 2-0? I felt like it was such a boring game after. They were just walking around.
Well, that was because they had didn't they have CONCACAF that next week?
Herediano was after that.
So they're saving people. They took off a lot of their starters in that second half. But the quality of the game went down, even for both teams.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we have maybe to look forward to is they kind of equal each other. If one goes up, the other one goes up. The other one goes down.
I guess what sucks for RSL, both Galaxy's games this week, they're both at home for them. They have home against San Jose and then home against us on Saturday.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, that will be interesting to see. Like you mentioned, hopefully not anything crazy after the game to where there might be a little bit of a scuffle. Who knows? A little bit of some fade catching. We'll see. But at the end of the day, hopefully you kind of go into that break with a win, with some wins, not any injuries, right? You don't want anybody to get injured kind of going into those, but definitely kind of that top matchup that we all kind of want to see, right? Solid, man. I love kind of the analysis. I love kind of the look aheads. Any other thing, anything else you guys are kind of excited for with this week? With RSL kind of going into Wednesday and Saturday?
Look, I think I'm looking forward to at least a minimum of 4 points. We need a minimum of 4 points. If not, let's get all 6. But anything less than 4, I think we're going to be looking at possibly a weekend failure.
Yeah, and then, Austin hasn't been the super strongest team ever, so I don't see why not. That definitely 4 points is definitely doable, especially, I don't know. I'm scared. I don't know if we do like our picks, so we decide who we think's gonna win, and I'm at the bottom of the leaderboard, so I just trying to think of
you sound like Marcos. You sound like Marcos.
Yeah. No, I just I'm too like sophisticated for all this. My analysis goes too far beyond the game, so it's hard.
No, for me, after going with Gozo scoring against Vancouver the weekend, I'm looking forward ahead. I want young blood to keep on his stride. He's got that confidence. He's got the momentum. So why not? We saw what he did in that first half, the first minute. So I want to see more of that from him.
Yeah, what a stud, man. Graduating high school like the day before, and then
day before, and the next day he's scoring goals.
Dude, what a week.
I just feel like this is kind of something we talked about, speaking of young bloods and stuff, is RSL isn't the flashiest club. We're not an LA Galaxy where big players are going to want to come play here. So I think that is a very big part, kind of like become like a Barcelona-ish team where you kind of bring young players up. Our academy may not be to the like a Barcelona level, but you can produce good players like Gozo. He scored. He's only 18. Let's kind of give some of those players a chance where some of these older people, like what's his name? Diago, the Conclaves, kind of giving some of our young stars more of a chance and kind of giving Diego Luna a look to what our team could be, and not, have him wanting to look elsewhere to go and win some games, because, RSL has had some really highs. They won one title, and I believe they made it to a second final, right? And they lost that one. So, let's get up there. They're the only Utah team that's won a championship, so I just feel like they should be able to bring some more back. So
let me tell you that the academy and youth development conversation for ourselves, it can get deep. We could be here for another hour because we do have a good academy. It's just we're not using our academy products enough. So without getting into any details, but yeah, we could definitely get deep into this, and I think we should be using our youth a lot more. Results, we have Glad that's been huge for us. We've also dished out a lot of our academy players too. Heck, even if you think about if you guys know the name Taylor Boone, played in the youth national team levels. He's actually in Europe. Isn't he in the Netherlands right now or something like that, Marcos?
Something like that, yeah.
But he's been in there. I think Taylor Boone, something like that.
Taylor Booth,
something like that. I think they've been our academy product. So those kids have gone through our academy, but we've never put them up into our first team.
Yeah, because he got called up to, or I guess the Bayern Munich took him in 2019, and he's been working. So I feel like if you have players or like young players like that, where a team like Bayern Munich is going to come in and be like, you know what, we kind of want him, then you should understand that. I guess I don't know what they got for it, but maybe you should keep him around and try and develop him yourself. Get him some game time in the MLS where, for a fact he can play some games. Like, look at Diego Luna. He's been a big impact, and hopefully, what the heck? Why can't Gozo becomes a really good player for us as well? So
the hardest part is keeping him, right? You can kind of develop them. You can get them going. You can get them up in people's radar to kind of make them seem like, hey, they're really coming up, they're doing well, they're performing well. But then the hardest part is always keeping them. It's kind of what we mentioned a lot on this podcast as well, is we are always going to root for RSL. It's the home team, it's the local team for us, right? But at the end of the day, we tried to get Kevin De Bruyne. We tried to do a post there and try to get him over here. It didn't work. I get it. The nightlife, the cold, the snow. It is what it is. Maybe one day we'll get another big name at some point, but other things have to happen, right? But yeah, the whole developmental part, let's get them up, let's get them going. I think it was the U16 MLS in the whole Adidas Cup a few months ago. They kind of won, right? They won that whole Adidas Cup, which was pretty cool. So there's definitely talent here. There's definitely some homegrowns that we can kind of keep going. But at the end of the day, it's that same thing. Miller family, please keep them. Let's develop them, give them the money they need. We'll buy more popcorn.
Malls. Yeah, more
exactly. Popcorn. Everybody got to go see the movies. Go to Megaplex and watch the movies. That's what we got to do. Solid stuff, fellas. Sweet, man. Well, I mean, I'm pretty pumped for RSL. I'm pumped for this week. I'm pumped for what they can do. At the end of the day, let's not get a loss on Saturday. That's kind of the big takeaway I'm kind of seeing. But RSL bros, man, we loved having you guys on. We loved having your guys' expertise, y'all's analysis. I believe what y'all are on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook,
Apple,
at RSL Bros. Correct. Tell the people where they can find you, man.
Yeah, find us on all your socials at the RSL Bros. Yeah.
Sweet.
Awesome. Love it, man. I was checking out some of your guys' podcasts on Saturday and today. So once I knew we were going to do some collabs to kind of do some investigating, and you guys have a good product there. So go ahead, if you are a big fan of RSL, or even if you're not, if you want to become a fan, go watch them. They're awesome.
Absolutely. Check out the RSL Bros, man. We'd love to hear it. Won't be the last time, I'm sure. Plenty of season left, as well as plenty of more seasons to come. So thank you guys.
19 games left in the season.
There you go. I'm sure we'll have some more crazy games coming up. We can always collab on that as well. So Marcos, Alan, RSL Bros, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Sweet. Thanks, homies. That was the RSL Bros. Super cool to have them on. Our first collaboration with another, MLS content creators here. Hyped to do it. We're going to continue to do it. We're going to continue to collab with the guys. But yeah, if you also cover a specific team, let us know. We'll have you guys on. Cool stuff, man. Maybe also what we can do really quickly here is just kind of
look. Show their YouTube real quick.
Yeah, do it, dude. Share it.
Let's give them a quick little shout out.
Quick little shout out to the RSL Bros.
Them. Yeah, give them a
follow. YouTube at the RSL Bros. Looks like they've been making quite a bit of content. I know we follow them on socials, and they do a lot of good work. Check them out. Give them a follow. Give them a like. Give them a subscribe. Do whatever you got to do, man. Show them some love. Mm-hmm. And then kind of going into, let's just kind of quickly review some of the games that we probably didn't get a chance to discuss. Just kind of looking at the RSL games this week and last week. But yeah, like we mentioned, a lot of good games. I think a good one that also stands out here that we didn't mention, a couple of them at the very, the earlier window. Montreal, man, I'm pretty surprised that they tied with LAFC. I was like, dang, bro, like that's nuts for them to tie with LAFC. Probably one of the top dogs in the league. So for them to tie 2-2 with them, they might be coming up, man. I mean,
that streak's gonna come to an end on tomorrow, actually. So yeah, they have Montreal. They're gonna go back to losing. I don't know. They play a pretty good team tomorrow.
Oh, do they? Who they play?
Yeah,
they play Miami.
I think so. It might be.
That's probably, I'm like, that's why you're gonna say it.
A team from Miami. I think top up a little bit.
Oh, there it is. Dang. So yeah, good on Montreal, man. They're kind of, they're doing what they got to do to stay competitive. Another interesting one here, Charlotte versus Columbus, a 3-2 win for them, knocking down a top dog. We did not see that coming. No, we did not. Pretty crazy, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, look at this. They got a 75th minute goal. Beal looking like he's kind of, maintaining that. He's been playing pretty well. He's been having some good assists, some good goals. So he's been looking pretty strong. And then I'm so bad at this name, Agyemang. I believe
Aubameyang. Just kidding.
Not Aubameyang. Agyemang. He also got called up for the U.S. men's national team, scoring 2 goals for Charlotte. So good on him, man. That's pretty solid for him, and kind of showing out right before they kind of go for that break for the Gold Cup and those friendlies.
Zaha had 2 assists as well, so hopefully he starts catching a bit more fire. I don't know if it was the first or the second or the third goal, honestly, that he assisted, but it was a really nice, through ball just straight into it. So
nice.
It was a nice assist.
Solid. But yeah, man, I mean, knocking Columbus off a little bit here and there, keeping that Eastern Conference competitive, man. So I'd love to see that. Like you mentioned, Philadelphia and Miami, a 3-3 draw. Sporting Kansas City, New England, 3-3 as well. Pretty interesting there. I didn't really look at this game, to be completely honest with you. I was not expecting a 3-3 draw with these two teams.
Sporting Kansas, I know.
Yeah, I mean, Sporting Kansas City, and then at the end of the day, they kind of, possession 39%. They did have more total shots, but not as many big chances. So that kind of sucks for them. Oh, yeah, there was an own goal there, too.
Well, what is that? 8 minutes? They had 3 goals in an 8-minute span. It's that's like, I swear all the games that ended like 3-3 were kind of like that, where they just had those quick goals in the San Jose Earthquakes was 10 minutes, Sporting Kansas City was 8 minutes, and then Inter Miami's was a bit slow, but they did get those 2 goals in the last, 4-ish minutes of the game. So yeah. I just feel like some of those teams, they just get going. Look at that momentum bang, there, just boom, 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 and then
just kind of getting that streak. They got to get in that flow, Pretty insane to kind of see that. So, solid game there for Sporting Kansas City. We obviously kind of beat the horse here on this one with RSL Vancouver. They could have done something amazing. They couldn't get it all done. San Jose, Houston, 3-3. We mentioned New York City, Chicago Fire, and then kind of a crazy one we also didn't mention here, Atlanta United versus FC Cincinnati, dude. I don't think any of us, other than Mr. ATL himself, picked Atlanta United to win this game.
Bro, this league pisses me off, bro. Freaking these games, they're like, it's so like hit or miss. I'm more irritated just because of freaking our picks, going on. Yeah. But it's like Cincinnati has been one of the best teams all year. And then Atlanta's, pooping the bed a little bit this year. So and then the one freaking week that I don't pick Atlanta, they come in here and they score 4 goals. And I'm just like, bro, what? I think that's the most goals they've scored all season in one game this year, probably. Maybe. And it's just is this league, man. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that makes it so nice. They did score 4 goals against the New York City FC. I went to go check. So yeah, 4 is the most goals they've scored all season. But I don't know, man. These teams need to get their stuff together. Even like this game, and then how does freaking LAFC go down 2-0 to Montreal? Like these games, man. Like
I know
they're making me lose my mind.
Yep, they are.
It's not me. It's the teams. It's not my fault. I'm in last place. It's the teams.
Oh, okay, yeah. Keep telling yourself that, my guy. But yeah, look at this, man. 40,000 people at this game. So people were definitely excited for this one. Going up against the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference. So glad, that Atlanta United showed up. We mentioned it last week on the podcast when we were like kind of looking into this game. We were saying, hey, look, in order for the Atlanta team to win, everything's got to be on the same page, right? The stadium, the fans, the team. And at the end of the day, they were not the most possession-heavy game for them, but definitely created lots of opportunities, lots of chances. And I think it was 4 different guys. Yeah, 4 different guys on the score sheet. So, they can do it, man. They can kind of get it done against FC Cincinnati. Can they continue this run? Who knows?
I think the secret is they have to go to Magic City after the games, not before.
Okay. That is the secret right there, the secret sauce. Nice. Solid stuff. So some good games this last weekend. Pretty solid stuff. Kind of going into our headlines, our major headlines with this last week. One that I kind of wanted to point out to everybody here. We'll kind of get this one up and rolling. But we mentioned this a couple times, throughout the podcast. A lot of the U.S. men's national team players, balled out this last week. Pretty good article here that we kind of found. Monster week for a lot of these call-ups. It says right here, 8 major league soccer players celebrating their inclusion in the U.S. men's national team roster for some upcoming June friendlies with big games, goals, assists this last weekend. Kind of going through this. Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's see. So, yeah, like we mentioned with Charlotte, Patrick Augimeng completed a memorable 3-goal week for Charlotte FC. Not just 3 goals, man, but you scored 3 goals against Columbus Crew. That's crazy, bro. Good for you. Definitely kind of looking like he's looking pretty strong. He's looking like he's in form. Brian White, with 2 goals.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it says 3 goals, but, I mean, they might be right.
2 goals.
The other one says, okay, yeah. Is that what it says?
I think he had a goal, I think, in the US Open Cup.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah. Okay, I was a bit confused. My bad. That's me.
He had 2 goals against Columbus, but he had 3 goals in the week because they had the US Open Cup.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so solid performance by him, as well as Brian White, taking down the home team, Real Salt Lake, with 2 goals that game. But obviously he's kind of coming in form. Diego Luna also kind of scoring a goal in that loss. but nonetheless, staying in form. I believe he's at 8 goals. He like tied Brian White for goals on the season in that game, and then Brian White had to get that penalty. Sucks. And then let's see here. Quinn Sullivan got an assist on Indiana's goal. Let's see. Lamar, affiliate, 2-0 advantage. So Quinn Sullivan also playing pretty well. But nonetheless, man, a lot of kind of good performances by these guys that are kind of going into, kind of the U.S. men's national team. I'm excited, man. I'm pumped. I think I'm more pumped than people understand to watch, the U.S. men's national team during the Gold Cup, during some of these friendlies. I did want to also look at, let's see, because this has been getting a lot of eyeballs here.
The what?
The U.S. men's national team roster that's coming up.
Yeah.
A lot of commentary around that. I'm kind of curious, man, what your thoughts are on kind of who were being called up. I'm going to go ahead and just put this up here and we can kind of discuss. But from my understanding, a lot of the expected players that you would normally see on this team, not on the lineup, right? So you can kind of see here, the, Weston McKinney's, the Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, like they're not in this team for these upcoming, matches. But at the end of the day, the guys that are on there, like they showed out, right? They kind of balled out. So what do you think, man? A lot of different comments coming from other people around this team right now.
You know what? I was gonna bring up Christian Pulisic just because I saw like a lot of things of people like being mad that he's not going, and I don't know if it's him just not being called up or him not going, deciding not to play. Which, you know what, like it kind of sucks because you are the captain. Like I know it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna have some time off after a good but disappointing season out at AC Milan. And I feel like it kind of goes back to that entitlement type thing that people always talk about. Like, he's like, you know what, I'm gonna take this time off just because I want to, because I know for a fact that I'm gonna get called up anyways when it actually matters next year, you know? And maybe it's also a bit of like Pochettino, like he's new to the team. Some of these like Berhalter, is that his name, the old coach?
Yep, great Berhalter, yep.
And he was kind of more familiar with the team, so he had an idea of who he wanted to bring in. Pochettino's new. He knows for a fact Pulisic is getting in. I don't know. Honestly, I watch a good amount of Dortmund games. Gio Reyna's not the best right now. He's not the best in form. I feel like
he hasn't played in a minute too, I think.
Yeah. And he kind of just gets in the team just because he kind of plays for a big team, is my guess, like a little bit of that. But it's good to see like a lot of these RSL players getting in, like we keep talking
16.
like this is an MLS. Yeah, this is an MLS podcast. We talk about the MLS players. Some people may see the league, as some of these people comment every once in a while, that the MLS is not a big league. These teams aren't big, and like maybe they may not be as like popular or have as big of players as some of these other teams, but like they're up there, in popularity and finances and stuff. So it's good to see Pochettino bringing up so many MLS players and hopefully having some time playing in the national team against some of the best players in the world, the Mbappes, like, like help them develop their defensive, their midfield, their attacking, the goalkeeping, everything. Because I know Belonga for Monaco is really good. So we'll see how it goes. He's right there.
Yeah.
Do you see him?
Yeah, I see him for Balogun. Yeah, pretty solid. No, dude, you bring up a good point, right? So I definitely think you can kind of look at some of these players that are not being called up right now. You can kind of say, yeah, is it kind of that entitlement? Did they really not care? To be completely honest, man, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that McKinney doesn't care. I don't think that it's Pulisic that doesn't care. At the end of the day, yes, they're being worked. Right. And you can argue like, hey, so is Messi, so is Cristiano Ronaldo, and they're much older and they just have so many miles on them and they're still playing. Like, I get that. Right. I think, as a player today, as a, younger player today, you have a lot more things kind of being pushed and thrown at you, just kind of in general, not just the amount of games, right? You kind of, if you're taking Pulisic for example, yes, he's playing, in the Serie A, but he's also playing the Coppa Italia, right? They're kind of in-season tournament. He's also playing Champions League soccer, the highest level of soccer that there really is. He's having a lot of different games going on, as well as, and I don't know if you guys all know this, but the ultras over there in Milan, like, they're pretty ruthless. Like, if you're not performing at your highest level, they're going to let you know. And I can't imagine what it's like living out there and having to deal with, a fan base that is just so diehard for when and if you don't perform, right?
Milan
Probably
fans versus Galaxy fans would set it up.
Ooh, yo, that would be sick. I would pay money to see that. That would be insane. But yes, I think, to me personally, with some of these guys that are not in these games right now, some of these top players, all I can say is this: I hope Pochettino knows what he's doing with giving them this time off, right?
Yeah.
This time off, use it, rest, do whatever the hell you got to do. Go, play golf, go on the beach, relax, do whatever the heck you got to do, because in 1 year, well, I think it's a little bit over a year, in about a year's time, it's legit. This is real.
Yeah.
It's freaking go time.
I don't mind them having the time off or feeling a sense of entitlement, earn that entitlement that you want to have. But if you get this time off, you can't come into the game. Well, you can't come back to the team and not try your hardest once you have that time off, It's like you're taking that time off to be able to rest, to be able to come in at 100%. So just make sure that once you come back to the team, you're actually trying. Because what was it? Was it the Champions League Cup, whatever, for the Nations League, where the U.S. men's national team was getting dogged on because they weren't, going all out trying or whatever. And that's why kind of Diego Luna was kind of making some headlines, because they're like, look how hard he's trying. Right. These players need to do that. And I do like all these MLS players coming in and getting, although they won't all play, it's, it's a big honor to be able to play for your national team. But not a lot of people get to say, let alone be like, I played in the MLS, but then be like, I was able to play for my national team. Right. So, hopefully these guys can make a mark in their in the national team.
It's kind of like their test. Like, it's kind of like, hey, look, World Cup is about a year away. Prove that you should be on this team come 2026, right? I think I'm very excited for, you kind of look at Zach Steffen, right? Colorado Rapids been playing pretty well. We've mentioned him a couple times on the podcast. Should he be the goalie instead of Matt Turner?
I think he should start. Yeah. I think he should start.
He's a solid player, and he definitely can be, the starter, if not a very good backup to Matt Turner if he can't perform. So I'm excited about that. If you look at the defenders, right, you got Sergino Dest, where, he has some injuries. He's kind of coming off of that injury, but he could definitely, start working his way back into the national team. He's a very great player. Hopefully he can kind of get healthy and also be on the squad come 2026. But you also have, Alex Freeman, 0 caps for this team. First time ever, suiting up for the U.S. men's national team. He's coming out of Orlando City. Solid opportunity, man. Super excited for him there, as well as Sebastian Berhalter, so the son to Greg Berhalter. I don't know if you've been following Sebastian Berhalter, but he plays for Vancouver. He's been playing very well alongside, Brian White, alongside that entire team.
Honestly,
he's been balling out. 0 caps as well.
I forgot what game I was watching, but they said Berhalter, and I sat there for a minute. I'm like, is that the coach's son?
Yep, so. It is. And obviously people can say nepotism. They can say whatever the heck they want to say. But he's been playing well. I think, he's been playing for a little while. He hasn't never been called up. And the fact that he's just doing so well right now on a very good Vancouver
honestly,
team.
This is like the best time to be called up, because people can't be like, oh, you're only in the team because of your dad. Like, he's playing well, and he doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm only here because my dad's the coach. But he's actually been playing well, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's solid for him, right? The midfield is very stacked. Sebastian Berhalter, Diego Luna right there. Quinn Sullivan also coming off for his very first, kind of call up there. And he has 0 caps or goals with the U.S. men's national team, but he's, coming out of a very strong Philadelphia Union team. And then obviously your forwards, I think a very strong, attacking front with Patrick Augimang, Brian White, which has been very, very good this year. And then, Damian Downs right there. Looks like he's very first time kind of getting called up. Hopefully he gets a cap. But obviously he's been playing for Germany, right? So I like it, dude. I like kind of what Pochettino's doing with this team. I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I think everybody kind of mentioning that, hey, what the heck's going on? Y'all need to take a dang chill pill, man. Let the man cook. We'll see. If they lose in the Gold Cup, okay, it is what it is. We sent our B team. We can kind of go off of that. But if they win, if they beat the Mexican national team in this Gold Cup, if they play them and beat them, y'all got to show some respect because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, no, Pochettino's a really good coach, and this kind of goes back to the what's his name, dude? The freaking I can never remember their names. The LA Galaxy coach. I talked about it last week.
Oh yeah,
where you kind of step away from think about it. He's just started coaching this team. It's not a club team where he gets games every week for X amount of months. This is a national team. He gets the team for maybe a month at a time, and he has to kind of figure out. It's going to take some time for him. I would say give him maybe like 2 to 3-ish tournaments before you kind of are like, oh, you know what, this is an issue. For sure, the World Cup's going to be a big thing for him, but just whatever it is, however it goes, just give him some time to kind of learn the players, get a tactic of what he's going to do. Because think about like Argentina, just because they've been the best national team. People like seem to think like it happened like out of nowhere, but like since 2014 they hadn't made a World Cup final. They were like kind of working their way up, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to get those players to develop, to get your team going. And then once Pochettino has his team ready and like set, has the idea of what he can do with these players, that's when you'll see some improvements. So there's no need for him to play the big players right now because he's just starting up,
Yeah,
let
him cook, man. Let him cook. Give him some time. Solid stuff, man. I love that headline. So we'll definitely kind of keep tabs on the U.S. men's national team, given that they have 16 MLS players kind of going into it. Another quick little headline, and we won't spend a lot of time on this one. At the end of the day, our efforts were not received because from this story here, for playing for 90, Kevin De Bruyne turns down MLS and lines up unexpected Italian switch. From my understanding, KDB will most likely, I don't believe it's completely confirmed, but will most likely be joining Napoli this next season. For those of you that don't know, Napoli plays for the Serie A over there in Italy. They did just win the season, so they did get first place. That may have been something that attracted him over there. But also, who doesn't want to be in Italy? Like, I'm sure the country and everything is very beautiful. It's very exciting. The kind of is awesome.
I'd rather be in Utah, me personally.
Hey, me too. That's why I live here. He should have done it. But, nonetheless, we couldn't get him over here. Maybe next time, maybe we can get another big name out here. But hopefully he's happy.
There is a big name that we'll talk about later that I'm gonna throw out some bids for.
Love it, dude. Love it. So there goes KDB. There goes our bet for him. Hopefully he has success in Napoli. Never wish him ill will. And then kind of going into the next headline here, we have some pretty good games with MLS teams, not necessarily in the MLS, but nonetheless has an MLS team involved. The CONCACAF Champions Cup, man, gonna be a good one. I'm pretty pumped for this one, to be honest. Cruz Azul and Vancouver Whitecaps. They're playing in the final on June 1st, which I believe is on a Sunday. No, Monday? No, Sunday.
Sunday. It literally says it right there, bro. Read.
Oh, my bad. I didn't even look at it. But they will be playing on Sunday, June 1st at 9 p.m. Eastern. So I'm excited, dude. I mean, I think you kind of look at this and say, hey, Vancouver's been playing very well. They basically look unstoppable. Even when they're down 2-1, like they can kind of come back and win these games, right? Cruz Azul, at the end of the day, they could not get it done in Liga MX. I believe they lost in the semifinals, but they will be looking for some sort of silverware this year, right? They do have the Clausura, right? Clausura at the end of this season. that'll start back up maybe. I don't remember exactly when. But given, there's going to be this cup, Leagues Cup in the future, they want to get as much silverware as they can. So I'm pumped for this game, dude. Who do you think is kind of going to take it, man? I'm excited. I'm pumped. Who you got?
I'm gonna be sleeping, bro. Messi's not playing. I ain't watching.
Okay.
Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Bro, this is a final, but the Whitecaps have looked so good. Like, I don't see them losing this game. Cruz Azul hasn't been a bad team this year. They made it to the semifinals of this past, and then they choked. So
against none other than America.
But yeah, no, the freaking, I'll be mad that Miami lost to Vancouver, but I can't be mad at the same time just because they've been playing so well.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder if they have $15 tickets this year, or if the tickets went up in price this year compared to last year.
I'm pretty sure they went up.
Yeah, but no. This should hopefully be a good game. If it's not a good game, I can see just Vancouver kind of dominating this game and making it not super fun, but we'll see.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I think if you kind of look at Vancouver over the last couple of weeks, like they've been traveling quite a bit. They've definitely been going, from different, states here and there, and at the end of the different countries, right? Because they're based out of Vancouver. But they are going to be playing in Mexico City, where Cruz Azul is basically based out of. But I don't think that's going to affect them, to be completely honest. Like, Vancouver's just been good all around. They haven't lost a step, with away games. They have everybody that they need in healthy, like they're all healthy. Some of these guys that they have on the team are just too good to really even like lose a step here. Brian White's looking very good. Nelson's looking very good.
Ahmed.
Berhalter, Ahmed, like they're all looking super solid. So as long as they can kind of stay healthy, I believe their game this weekend got pushed. I don't think they're playing. I don't remember if they're playing Wednesday, but I believe their Saturday game got pushed.
They play Wednesday, but Saturday they don't play.
Yeah, so
their game, if I was the MLS, I wouldn't have even had them play this entire week.
Yeah, honestly, let's let them win some silverware. Like, I think they can definitely do it. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, who do they play on Wednesday? I don't think
Minnesota.
Ooh, okay, that is a tough game. I mean, they might play some of their guys here and there, but I don't think they give them the full minutes. Like, I mean, I wouldn't. You know what I mean? If you take an L here in the MLS, like, it is what it is. But let's get a trophy, right? Let's get a trophy for the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Which,
that's what I would say.
Speaking of the CONCACAF champions, I did want to bring up, because somebody in our comments on TikTok made a really good point of when we talked about the game that's Saturday, which is the what is it? The
Club
America
World
versus America versus LAFC, and how they're basically like playing to get that spot. And the person was like, "Well, why don't they just give it to whoever wins on Sunday?" Which, I never I don't know why it never crossed my mind.
Yeah,
but I feel like that's kind of makes sense. Which I get, like the Club World Cup those spots were chosen prior to.
I think that's what happened.
Because you can't really give it to the team that's going to win this year when these spots were chosen prior. But it kind of made sense to me. We're like, you know what? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why not?
Maybe if it was
it's an American versus a Mexican team. Same concept.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's just
or not American or North Americans. They're both North American.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think it was just kind of the fact that they were just too close to each other, like the two tournaments, and maybe they didn't do that. But they also just kind of chose. Who won it last year? Who won the CONCACAF Champions Cup last year? I want to say it was.
Team.
Was it? You sure?
Almost 100% sure, but I'll double check. Pachuca.
Oh, okay, interesting. So yeah, they're obviously in it, and then Club Leon, obviously kind of went in. I forget why they qualified.
It's because they won the Champions Cup in 23.
Oh, Club Leon.
Yeah, and that's why the LAFC is playing America, because the LAFC was the runners up the year that Leon won. Then I think America's getting in because they were like the highest rated team or
Right.
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I think so. Very interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, they're two good teams, but we are going to get into that. So, yeah, we definitely have, a solid weekend, not just of MLS action. We have the CONCACAF Champions Cup, as well as a playoff spot for the Club World Cup, where we have LAFC going up against Club America. Something interesting here, too. It says how to watch and stream. It's going to be on DAZN. I'd be curious I'd be very surprised if like a Fox Sports, ESPN, do the N, like, do they pick this game up as well, like, and kind of show it? Because if I can't watch this game on like just the things that I have, like with TV, I'd be pretty upset. Like, that would honestly suck.
So I know that it might be a little bit different because they're trying to get more eyes on the game, but the women's Champions League final was also presented by DAZN, and that game was actually streamed on YouTube for free. So I don't know if it's different because, like I said, the women's game's kind of trying to gain more followers, so it helps broaden the area, have more people watching. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll see, because I am not trying to subscribe to DAZN.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, if they do some sort of free trial, maybe, but like, come on, guys, we got to have this more accessible. So, obviously, you have LAFC, a very good team in the MLS, doing some good things over there. But you also have a Club America that just got done losing Liga MX as the runners-up. They did just lose to Toluca in the Liga MX finals. Very confrontational games. The very first game, very confrontational. Club America. A lot of different people definitely said that they should have had, they didn't have some calls called their way. And then
America's complaining about calls not going their way.
No way. Very, very crazy. I think a lot of times they do have a lot of controversial stuff go their way, but nonetheless, they did end up losing. So will they be more focused on this game now that league is over? Will they show out much more in LAFC?
They are going to have, I don't know, some people might say it's a good thing, some people might say it's a bad thing. They are going to have pretty much an entire week off because they played Sunday 2 days ago, and they're not going to play again until Saturday. Yeah, 6 days. So, some people will be like, oh, fresh legs, or some people will be like, they're the momentum that they have, they're, going is kind of stopped by having those 5 days off. But we'll see, because 5 days off, and LAFC is going to have 3 days off because they play on Wednesday.
Because they play Wednesday, they play tomorrow. I don't know who they play, but obviously they'll have Saturday off.
It was Minnesota.
LAFC is playing Minnesota? I thought that was...
Oh, sorry, that's Vancouver. What the heck? Oh my gosh, I'm over here tripping. Sorry. I got my teams mixed up.
Let's see here. I can kind of look at it too.
They don't play anybody, actually. They have also
there you go.
5 days off. What the heck?
Interesting. There you go.
Why
the heck? Not give it to Vancouver?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, bro, which maybe more I don't money. Know. No, I think it's because some teams play Wednesday, some teams don't. Maybe they just happen to get lucky that this week they didn't play Wednesday. Yeah, but yeah,
interesting. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, hopefully, we get another MLS team up in there. That's kind of what we're hoping for. Clearly, LAFC, we're kind of rooting for you guys. So please do us all a favor, do everybody a favor, and win this game. Next up in the headlines, to kind of wrap us up with some of these major headlines, something that, is pretty interesting, something that hopefully, we can kind of see in the future. We need to bump this one up too. We need to make sure people kind of understand that this man is available. Who could I be talking about? The greatest to ever play. Possibly the greatest to ever play.
Possibly.
Cristiano Ronaldo. Hints at Al Nassr hit. I believe he posted on social media saying, hey, look, this chapter is over, but the story is not ending. Where will he go next? There's been a lot of different, links to, different teams around different countries here and there. His boyhood kind of club sporting in Portugal, like he could be going back to them. He could be going back, to a English Premier League team, maybe back to Manchester United. But there have been some links with, potentially an MLS team. Pretty interesting. I would love to see it. I know Fern is not the biggest fan of Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo, but imagine having a league where Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are both playing in it. It's almost like a flashback to La Liga in the
You know what? You know what would be better than a league with Cristiano and Messi playing in it? A team with Cristiano and Messi playing in it. Inter Miami needs to go pick him up right now. I don't care who's wearing the number 7 jersey at freaking Inter, but they need to rip it off their back and give it to freaking Ronaldo so he comes.
Here's the thing, though. If they ever could find, the cap space and pay this man as well as Messi, as well as the rest of the guys that they have on that roster, tickets to Miami or to Inter Miami games are what? About $500 for a good seat, like a decent seat, like an okay seat.
The home games aren't too crazy. It's always the away games that are a bit more expensive, just because he's less likely to show up every, home games. He's there pretty much every games.
Right.
I mean,
okay, so what, $500?
$2,000 for an Inter Miami ticket? It's not bad to watch Ronaldo and Messi. Come on.
That's probably what you're gonna need to be paying to watch both of these guys on the same team.
Think about this: Messi throwing in a cross for freaking Cristiano and him to freaking score a chilena off of it.
Dude, I mean, you would wrap up the story, the very long story of Lionel Messi versus Cristiano Ronaldo debate. Like, you would just kind of put a bow on it with that. Like,
well, that happened 3 years ago now.
What do you mean?
The rivalry between them. It was put in a bow tie and shipped off.
Didn't
that
they
ship
play,
ended a while ago.
Wasn't it like Inter Miami versus?
Oh no, I'm just saying because Messi won the World Cup. It's over, bro. The debate's been over. Come on.
No, not the debate. I'm just saying, like, kind of just the whole idea of like the two of them competing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just kind of having one of them assist the other. Like, that would be wild. Like, nobody else can say that. You know what I mean? Anybody else, you can kind of think of like Maradona never assisted Pele. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ronaldo.
Imagine those two guys trying to fight to be the top scorer in the same club.
Yeah. We'll see how that would work, but that was very interesting.
Or Cristiano, think about this. Come join RSL. I'll be forced to have to support you. I'll have to buy your jersey. I've never bought a Ronaldo jersey. Oh, actually, I did buy one Ronaldo jersey in my life, but it wasn't for me.
Okay. Interesting. So. That's dumb. You gifted a very, very nice gift to somebody else. But nonetheless, Cristiano Ronaldo, listen, Real Salt Lake City, Utah. Beautiful place to raise a family. I hear you have some kids. I hear you have a wife. I hear you have people in your life that you like. I hear you love your family. Oh,
girlfriend.
Apologies. You have a girlfriend in your life. You have a family. Utah's a great place to raise a family. Right, Fern?
Yeah, definitely. Come out here, bro. Come out here. I'm telling you. You'll stat pad for sure. You'll get the 74 goals, whatever you need. Just come out to the MLS. But no, freaking, like, all jokes aside, like, honestly, like, if somehow, I don't know if it's possible, I don't know what his plan is, whether, he is older than Messi. He's 39. Messi's what, like 37?
You probably get him for a year. If that.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
How many jerseys would you sell in one year?
Well, he broke the record for most jerseys sold in like a day when he rejoined Manchester United. So that was a record he broke. So but I'm just saying, like, it'd be cool to have him like within our like country and even having the possibility to go watch him, So that'll be a big attraction. There is also Luka Modric, who just recently left.
Oh yeah.
Real Madrid. He is a bit old as well. I don't know if he's planning on continuing his career or not, but he is another option of another player that could be here in the MLS starting July.
Interesting. Very, very good player as well. He played with Cristiano Ronaldo, for those of you that don't know, over at Real Madrid.
Bro, what if they go to Orlando, Cristiano and Modric go to Orlando, and then they just start up the Barca Madrid rivalry all over again in Florida?
That would be sick. That, honestly, and Orlando's good. Like, Orlando's a pretty good team this year. Like, that could actually work very well for that state and just that rivalry in general. So I like that, man. I mean, Luka Modric and Cristiano to come into the MLS. Please, let's make it happen. Come on over, guys. We got a growing league. We got everything you might need. in the United States of America.
I'll buy more popcorn, whatever
Yeah.
we need to buy to get you in here.
Exactly.
I got $10. I'll give it to the MLS. We can give it to you.
Exactly. Nice, dude. Those are pretty much all of the headlines. There was one more that we didn't quite, or I guess we'll get to right now. Still developing, still very early, but Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi have joined forces, not just with Inter Miami, but now I believe they bought a league a team in the 4th division Uruguayan league.
So I was reading the thing a bit. What is it called? LSM now? Suarez did own the team before, and it was just called LS, or Deportivo LS. So Messi just happened to join in on the partnership ownership group, however it works, and now they're rebranding it to Deportivo LSM.
So I gotta ask though, do we know what LSM stands for, or is it literally Luis Suarez?
Yeah, Suarez Messi.
No way.
I'm pretty sure that's what.
No. Deportivo LSM.
Yeah, like I don't see what other.
That's what I saw. That's what I thought when I heard it. I was like, Deportivo Luis Suarez Messi. Like, is it literally called your guys' name?
it kind of makes sense though, because they're both L's, Luis and Lionel, and then S and then M. I mean, until I see otherwise, I'll read into it, but why would they add the M after Messi joins, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is Deportivo Luis Suarez Messi, but like, dude, like
it could be a German type thing with RB Leipzig, where RB obviously, it's for Red Bull, but
right,
in Germany you can't. Yeah, it's like something Rasenballsport,
right?
Because you can't promote companies out there. But all I'm saying is you may see me in a LSM jersey in the near future.
Hey man, we might see you playing for LSM, man. It's 4th division Uruguayan league. Like,
I'm not that good,
dude. Let's go. We need to try out Deportivo LSM. Give us a trial, man. Give us a shot. We might be able to go out there, help promote you guys a little bit. We might be able to be on the team. Who knows?
I'm starting a league next Tuesday. I'm going to be in a co-ed league. I'm going to record myself, and I'm going to send them some film, see if I can get in the team.
There you go. Heck yeah, man. Love it. Love to see it. But very interesting, headline there. So we wish them nothing but the best, but we'll see kind of what Deportivo Luis Suarez Messi can do for the soccer world. So we'll see. Solid, man. Those are some pretty good headlines. We got through a lot of different topics today. We definitely have to kind of go through some of our top picks for this upcoming week. A very heavy week with games on Wednesday as well as on Saturday. So we can kind of go into it really quickly with just some of the ones that we're most excited about.
Can I tell you real quick? I just looked it up before we get right into it.
Yep.
Apparently, I don't know. This is coming from USA Today as of 05/27/2025. But LSM stands for Luis Suarez and Messi.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so original. Dude, it's just so.
Just thought I would throw it out there while we were still a little bit on the topic. So.
Yeah, again, we'll wish them nothing but the best, but good for them on getting a team. Going right into some of these top games this upcoming week. Looking at some games for tomorrow, for Wednesday. A lot of games starting off kind of more in the afternoon, 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Kind of looking at some of these. Atlanta United versus Orlando City to kick us off. Kind of an interesting one too. Atlanta coming off of that big win against Cincinnati, but Orlando obviously being pretty hot. Just kind of cementing themselves as a team that you kind of want to watch. Atlanta clearly being the front runner in head-to-heads, with Orlando only winning 6, Atlanta with 11 wins, 7 draws here. I think this can be a pretty exciting game to just kind of kick it off right on a Wednesday. Gonna be in the Benz once again, probably gonna be rocking and rolling, but Orlando looking pretty solid. If Atlanta played how they did this last week, you can probably see a very tight game here. But if they just, if that was a one and done type of a thing, Orlando can run all over these guys. So I'm excited for this one. Not sure kind of what your thoughts are on this one, but I like this matchup.
That is going to be a very good matchup. I'm going to have, Orlando City winning this, because the last time that Atlanta United won not by 4 goals, but scoring 4 goals. They went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games without a win. So this is the first game they've won in 8 games. So
jeez.
I don't want to say they got lucky. They had a good game, but Orlando City has been really good. I saw the way they dismantled Inter Miami, and I can't see Atlanta United doing too much. But this is most of these games are at 5:30, but that's a very good game to start off the week.
Yeah, for sure. So that'll be an interesting one. We also have your boys taking on a hard to take down CF Montreal. Inter Miami clearly being a bit of probably a favorite one here, given that they are going to be also playing in Florida. But again, Messi and the boys not necessarily doing as well as everybody kind of would assume. And then Montreal just kind of, given some of these better teams, like LAFC and Columbus, those tying games, but also kind of showing, who they really are with some of these other ones against Toronto. So kind of curious what kind of Montreal team shows up. I don't think they get it done against Inter Miami.
Click on who will win on this right side to see what the people are saying. 79%. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. See, and I think I could have chosen.
Yeah, you could have chosen. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, interesting. So yeah, I guess most people will see Miami win in this. But honestly, dude, if they tie this game, that's a win for Montreal, bro.
Oh my gosh, bro. Sorry that I'm freaking flipping out, but it's so hard. When we were talking with the RSL bros, just a little bit ago, they mentioned how engagement is down because RSL's doing bad, and it becomes hard to support, not trying to be we're plastic fans or we don't like our teams when they play bad. You always like your team even whether they play good or whether they play bad, but when they're playing good, obviously it's more fun. And when they're playing bad, it's just very hard to watch because Inter Miami came in as I think the number 1 ranked team in the power rankings.
Something like that.
But they were ranked really high, and for them to be playing the way they're playing is just outrageous. Tying they already tied 1-1 with Toronto this year. If they somehow tie against Montreal this week, I'm really gonna leave the state of Utah this time.
There you go, man. You guys heard it here first. Fernie's leaving. Fernie's moving. He's moving to Montreal if this team ends up losing.
Vancouver. Give me a good team.
There you go, man. Yeah, it should be a bit of an interesting game. Hopefully Messi and the boys can kind of get it done, but at the end of the day, it might not be as easy as we all think. Another game here, just kind of going down the list. Some of these you might be, there could be some pretty good games here. Columbus and Nashville both looking pretty good. New York Red Bulls as well as Charlotte. I think they're both kind of coming off of a win. So could be some interesting games there. The home team, RSL versus Austin FC. We kind of discussed this one. Hopefully RSL can kind of keep kind of get out of that slump and understand that they're a pretty good team and beat this Austin FC team. But another one I'm kind of looking at is kind of these later games. Seattle Sounders versus San Diego FC. I think this one looks pretty good. It depends on what Seattle team kind of shows up, right? Obviously losing 4-0 against LAFC a little while ago. But nonetheless, they've been a pretty decent team. I've been having some guys kind of get on that score sheet. But San Diego, man, they've just been, they've been kind of playing very, very well. I personally think San Diego will probably win this one. They are going to be playing in Seattle. But I guess most people are pretty indifferent about this one, man. What do you think with these two kind of going up and at it on Wednesday night?
We'll see. I feel like San Diego has been playing really well. They've been on a pretty good streak. They tied 1 game out of their last 5. So they're definitely up there. Seattle does have a really good team. Ferreira just joined the team, so I feel like he's having a bit of a difficult time kind of adjusting either to their style of play or whatever it is. So he might need a bit of a some more time. And to make it worse is Jordan Morris is out, so they don't even have that option.
Same with this guy.
So, Musovski.
He just got a hip injury, and he's out till late June, and he's been kind of their rock for most of these upcoming games, for most of these recent games.
Morris was out for all of April, came back for 1.5 games injured, and now he's back out until sometime in a couple
June.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I do think San Diego will take this as well. Just because of what I said. Unless Rusnak and Ferreira decide to show up at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Sounders win, but I just feel like San Diego's on a bit of a better streak.
For sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch that one. We also have another. I feel like all of these California games, whether it's LA Galaxy, LAFC, San Diego, or San Jose, they're almost all just really good games. And honestly, if LA Galaxy scores a goal within, in the first half or before the other team does, this game's just become amazingly good. But LA Galaxy taking on San Jose on Wednesday, man. Like, look at this. Check this out too. Arango out until early June, so probably going to be out for this game. LA Galaxy, it's not on here, but
I was on his TikTok live telling him to come back. Come back, we need you at RSL. He never responded.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not coming back. I'm sure he loves San Jose out there. So.
I'm just saying, Galaxy, you guys need to get your stuff together because your fans are fighting harder than you. Come on.
Ooh.
We need this. You guys are causing them too much stress. They're over here having to fight your battles off the field.
That's a funny take, man. LA Galaxy fans, man, y'all show up, y'all show out, man. Will they be doing the same thing against the San Jose Earthquake fans? Who knows?
Oof. It is at home too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when I went to the LA Galaxy game earlier this year, there was some fans dropping beer on the fans.
Yeah, they do get crazy. Fans. They do get crazy, but this will be a pretty interesting one. LA Galaxy versus San Jose. Vancouver, Minnesota, I think two pretty good teams as well. I think Minnesota is, second, third? Yeah, third place right now in the Western Conference. But Vancouver could also rest some of their guys just kind of going into, like we mentioned, the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So this could be just one of those where, they maybe try a little bit for a little while and then,
I would say let them play, either start them at the beginning, give them a couple like less than the half, or bring them on towards the end just to kind of warm them up a little bit. But what are they like? What is that? Freaking 4 points clear at the top. Vancouver is. You can give off some points. Yeah, finishing first is great, but you have a chance to get your first trophy. You have a chance to get your first trophy of the season. And I would honestly be surprised if Vancouver somehow falls out of the playoff picture. But as Miami showed us last year, being first doesn't necessarily matter, Like, as long as you get into the playoffs, you have a chance. So I would say don't even risk playing your starters this Wednesday. Like, the MLS didn't want to give you the day off. Give your players the day off.
Yeah.
And let them get in there.
Yeah, let them kind of do what they got to do to kind of get ready for that Saturday game.
Sunday game. Sunday.
Let them get ready for that Sunday game, man. Sweet. So that's Wednesday, and then on Saturday another full slate. I think we got one game. Yeah, one lonely game on Sunday, but then this weekend on Saturday, kicking us off with St. Louis versus San Jose, from New York. A couple of these, let's see. I think kind of the one that stands out: Inter Miami versus Columbus Crew. Some of the top teams kind of going into the Eastern Conference right now. Probably the ones that we want to watch, right? Columbus kind of off of that loss. Inter Miami kind of just, kind of falling off of their form recently. This one should be an interesting one.
The funny thing is these teams played each other to for like the undefeated streak at the beginning of the season, and now they've fallen off a bit, both of them. So
yep, exactly. Look, Columbus now fifth, and Inter Miami now seventh. So bit of an interesting little shakeup there from the beginning of the season, but nonetheless, Inter Miami gets 2 back-to-back home games. Pretty crazy there, but Columbus, going over to Miami, trying to take them out. So it should be a fun one to watch. Aside from that, let's see. So the Vancouver game obviously being pushed, LAFC game being pushed, and then we got 2 games at night that probably are a little bit of the ones to watch. But I think the one that we kind of mentioned in the show earlier, is going to be this one. probably going to have mainly RSL fans just on their toes here, just kind of making sure that we don't drop some points here, and not hand LA Galaxy, their first win of the season. Could they get it done against San Jose on Wednesday, LA Galaxy? Possibly, but I don't know if you noticed, but when I clicked on LA Galaxy versus San Jose on Wednesday, most people voted for LA Galaxy to win that matchup. And then for this one, most people are going to say LA Galaxy. So could Galaxy get 2 wins this week? Who knows? But all I know is RSL, please just don't lose on Saturday. Don't give Galaxy that benefit of being able to get some points on us and honestly kind of start clawing their way back. I think it's a long way from being possible. Like, it probably can still be done, but let's just not give them that satisfaction.
Bro, because I was curious because I'm like, when was the last time I got an RSL jersey? Just because I buy jerseys every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I bought one was the 2015 season. So I'm going to have to buy one this year, especially that white and blue checkered one. It's super nice. Yeah, that's how much jerseys are.
Yeah, that's wild, bro. That's a lot of money for a jersey, man. That's insane to me. The only jersey I have one jersey, one RSL jersey, and I think I bought it in like 2013, 14, something like that. I have one jersey. I've never worn it, and I will never wear it because it is signed by Kyle Beckerman. And that the one GOAT. Day, the GOAT, that one day will be in a frame in my forever home whenever I get to that point in my life. So
you're not at your forever home yet?
It's, I probably, I like it here. I probably won't ever leave, but you know what I mean? You never know.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just kidding. I know. I don't have too many jerseys.
Okay.
I don't like to carry them. Just kidding. Okay. No.
Nice.
I did buy RSL, 2 this year. This one was gifted to me.
There you go. Nice. RSL, please just don't lose. And then San Diego versus Austin FC to cap us off on Saturday. San Diego looking pretty good, but as long as they can get it done.
Easy dubs.
On Wednesday, yeah, probably an easy dub for them to cap us off Saturday night. And then for Sunday night soccer.
Sunday.
Seattle Sounders versus Minnesota United, man. This was probably a pretty good one, too. 4 p.m., a nice early game here. Early evening game. Seattle Sounders clearly been doing the better team there with the head-to-heads. But Minnesota looking very strong this season. Clearly they're in third place. Seattle not too far behind. Like we mentioned, they're a good team. But yeah, this one will be pretty exciting, man. They're going to be again in Seattle. Seattle gets 2 home games this week as well. Can they beat Minnesota? Like, that'll be an interesting one to kind of watch.
Damn,
do you like this one as well?
Sucks. Yeah, it should be a good game. I just said that sucks because Minnesota has to play the Sounders, and on Wednesday they have to play Vancouver. So I guess hopefully for them, Vancouver does sit their starters.
And they get some
and whatnot. But yeah, no, this should be a good game. I believe it's the only game just because of the Champions Cup final. They don't want to, interject. But Sounders should hopefully win that convincingly.
Nice.
And speaking of the Champions Cup final, I did go check to see what the percentage was of who people think's going to win. And for some reason, 57% of the people think Cruz Azul is going to win.
Oh, really? Wow. They're already kind of... I'm sure a lot of people don't, they don't realize what Vancouver's kind of capable of. Like we mentioned, this is an MLS podcast. We watch a lot of these MLS teams. They're good.
They're good. There's those teams where, like, I felt like when I always bring it up because most of the time I watch Inter Miami games or like RSL games. So whoever those teams play are the games I most likely am, the games I'm more likely to watch. And when Vancouver played Inter Miami, anytime Miami gave me like a thought of, oh, they might have a chance, Vancouver just comes in and boom. And that's just being a really good team is like they're good to the point where they take the momentum away from the other team and give it back to themselves. So I'm honestly surprised because I think I'll have to go back and watch our first episode and see if any of us even had them playing this well, but
yeah, I don't think anybody did. I don't think anybody that watches MLS had these guys playing this well.
I did have Canadian team doing well, but unfortunately it wasn't them.
Yeah. I know it's pretty interesting. But yeah, man, should be interesting after this week. Looks like there will be only 5 games the following Saturday, Sunday, 2 games on the 7th, and then 3 games on the 8th. So not a super heavy, load, kind of given the break and kind of like, kind of with some of the other tournaments. And then, we won't really have full slates until I believe the 14th or so, 14th, 15th. No, 14th, and then full slate really isn't until June 25th. So that's going to be, a Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday type of a deal. And then we're kind of back to the regularly scheduled program. But nonetheless, some pretty good games coming up this week in the MLS. A lot of things we covered today, a lot of different things. Had some special guests on the podcast, super fun. Awesome episode for everybody to kind of check out here once we kind of get it out. But yeah, man, final words, final thoughts from this last week and going into weeks, 16 and 17 of the MLS?
Yeah,
right?
I think 16, it should be 16, 17.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you know what? Thanks for watching. Thanks for giving us some good interactions online, having some conversations with us. And a big shout out again to the RSL bros for taking some time out of their Tuesday to have a quick conversation with us. I know we're a little bit uneducated, me and Reyes. I'll throw him in there.
Yep. We'll get there. We'll be pretty good. This first year. We'll get there.
But yeah, thanks to those guys. They're very well versed in this RSL world, so it's nice having some people kind of give us a bit of insight to them. Hopefully we can have another conversation and make some friendships along the way.
There you go. Love it, man. Well, solid, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today to the Correct Soccer Podcast, episode number 15. We love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, share. RSL Bros, appreciate you guys for coming out. Won't be the last. So really thank you very much for taking the time. We out here. We doing our thing. Much love. Peace.